Hey, everybody. Welcome to Captive Audience. It is Dawn and Sunny, and it is a sunny, beautiful day over here in Northeast Oregon.
Wonderful Wednesday. Are you guys really hot over there? It feels like 90 here. I don't know if it's
Yeah,
that hot.
it's 90 over here. It's
Wow.
90. It's nice and air
Uh,
conditioned in my house, though. I'm not feeling it.
oh, this is one of those days where you're glad you have it.
Yes. Yeah,
Yeah.
but it's such a beautiful day, little puffy clouds, clear blue
Mhm.
skies, except for just a few little puffy clouds. I mean, hey,
Yeah.
life is good. Life is good.
Oh, yeah. I don't know about you all. It's like it's nice and cool all day. And then all of a sudden at 4 o'clock, bam, it's just hot. Just all of a
Yeah,
sudden. Like,
exactly.
yeah,
Exactly. That's the hottest part of the day. And we've got some hot news items to cover. Speaking of the heat.
always.
And, yesterday, Biden is, deciding he's going to give amnesty to some illegals that are married to U.S. citizens. And truthfully, he can't do that. But much like what Obama did, and what we see is that they don't care what's legal or not. They're going to, by executive action, do whatever they want. And so I just posted the story from PJ Media that says the cavalry is coming. And America First Legal is filing a lawsuit against this. And so I'm quoting from Stephen Miller. He says, Obama lobbied Congress aggressively to give illegals a 12-year path to citizenship, and Congress rejected him. Biden is giving illegals a 3-year path to citizenship with the stroke of a pen. And this is tyranny, not democracy.
I just can't believe they keep doubling down on this stuff. Wasn't there another case where some poor gal got murdered? I can't remember what state it happened in. Had
Yeah.
like 5 kids. It's just, and they just keep pushing it. It's like they're whoever's running him, because I don't think it's him, because I don't think he's here.
This kind of goes along with what Obama did.
Yeah, they just don't care anymore.
No, no, they don't care. And but I will tell you, the thing is, it's just helping flip voters, because even the Hispanic community in the United States, the Hispanic voters have had enough. I have Peruvians, I have Costa Ricans in my family, and they're pissed. They're
Yeah.
pissed at this because they came here legally. They went through the
Mhm.
system the right way to get here. And you can never, I don't think we should ever reward the illegal behavior. I do feel compassion for the dreamers, those that children that have been brought here and have grown up and they don't know any other country. I have compassion for that. But beyond that, that's where it ends, because every country has sovereign borders and they need to be respected.
Well, not to mention, it's just a practical thing too. I mean, you could feel sorry for all the homeless and bring 50 of them into your house, and what will happen is you will all be homeless. Um, the nation can only stand so many. I mean, there's got to be a flow to this that you can manage and handle. And when you just like have no lid on it, and I'm talking legal here, I'm not even talking about
Right.
the illegal aspect of
Right.
it. You can't do too many at one time. We can't sustain it. So it would destroy the country.
Definitely. And, like Pat is putting, a WEF there. And actually, this is the plan of the World Economic Forum
Oh,
for globalization and open borders. And let's move people all around. And so many are not, they have no interest in integrating into the American way of life at all. They
oh,
want to keep.
yeah. And that's absolutely right. The World Economic Forum. That's exactly who's driving this. I mean, they know this can't work.
Yeah,
The
they
the,
do.
the dumb minions at the bottom of the food chain don't get it, but the people at the top know very good and well that it cannot work. But the only way to destroy civilization is to destroy its culture. And how do you destroy its culture? By you over assimilate it, and then it's destroyed. And look at what's happening. The rest of the world knows this. Look what's happening in Western Europe. They finally figured it out in Europe. and look at the direction the elections are taking there. It's like awesome to see it.
It is awesome to see it. In fact, there's now calling for a Frexit. France pulling out of the EU. I saw this
Mhm.
last night and I just went, oh boy,
That's awesome.
because all of that,
Mhm.
it's the accumulative effect of let's shut down farming, let's do mass migration all over into Europe, and the oppressive high taxes, no medical, I mean, we can just go on and on with all of
Sure.
the things that are going on, not just here in America, but over in the EU.
Mhm.
And countries are, and then they're saying, well, we want to help fund Ukraine. And some of the countries are saying, no, we're not doing that. We're not going to get involved in a
And
war.
just think about the logic of it for a minute. If you just be rational about it, the way that we how do we get along? We have a set of behaviors that we wouldn't even have to talk about. We just know how to behave. We know that when the stop signs are we're going to stop for the car. We know we're going to hold the door open for the lady. All of these things. We also have a set of behaviors that we take for granted around how we can be free. It's okay to hear something that you disagree with without having to kill the other person. It's okay for women to not be walking around with a bag over their head. I mean, and you can if you want, but we're not going to make you have one, right? But other cultures don't have that same understanding,
No.
and the two will not mix. And you bring them together, and you're going to have chaos, which is precisely what those at the top of the food chain want to happen. So it's just great to see these countries finally standing up. And you'll notice it's not the elites in those countries either that are doing this. It's very grassroots.
Well, you're right. Although I heard a speech, and I want to say it was Hungary, the president of Hungary. And I saw a video of just within the past week, and he was saying that he says Hungary has no interest in going to war.
Mhm.
Hungary is not going to send their people to war.
No.
We're here and we're not going. We have other nations, they don't care about their people and they want to put them into war.
Mhm.
He says, but we're not going to.
And
And
this thing, yeah,
and
and
and he
Poland's the same. Poland's the same way. Isn't it funny? The Eastern Europeans get it already. They've been there, done that. It's
exactly.
the West that's having to figure this out the hard way.
Well, that's yeah, exactly. And so we've so I was glad to see, and maybe that might be the breakup of the European Union, all of this. So when I saw the Frexit, I went, oh boy, because let me tell you, the French know how to, they know how to have a protest. They
Yeah.
shut government down and they shut government down right now.
Well, look at what's happened to their country. I mean, there's parts of Paris you can't even go through anymore because of this
Mhm.
crazy immigration. And a lot of those European countries have gotten that way, and they've got it. They won't be livable if they don't do it. So it's great to see. Was it Macron? Is that the premier who
Yeah.
lost his seat? That's what it takes.
Yes, absolutely. And that is what it takes. And so I'm glad to see the pushback kind of stuff.
You're going to have
Something I wanted,
Javier Malous running around all over the world. Awesome.
yeah, yeah. So there is something that's coming on the ballot here in Oregon that actually I didn't know anything about it until today, and I have to give credit to Jill Litzinger for a post that she made on our county Facebook page about ballot measure 17. And I went, huh, what's that about? Well, then today I saw two stories about it. And what it is, it has, and looks like they've turned their signatures in
Mhm.
more than what's needed. Now the signatures have to get verified, but it's geared to be on the ballot in November, and it's likely going to make it. And it will raise the corporate taxes. What this is a it's by Oregon People's, or it's called Oregon People's Rebate. Doesn't that sound great? A
Oh, it
rebate,
always sounds. These things
right? An
always sound
Oregon
wonderful.
people's rebate. But truly, what it is they're going to tax corporations with that are doing over 25 million in business. So let's see, you want to drive more businesses out of Oregon, and then it's all the consumers that end up paying for that, right?
Mhm.
So that citizens could get, like, every citizen, and it says every citizen. You don't have to be a tax-paying citizen. You don't have to have filed taxes. It says every citizen would get like $750. Well, this is where they're going to just pay you, right? You're going, it's, oh, the
Well, they want to
term
give us a
is,
rebate. Why don't just lower the taxes?
right, right.
That'd be a
But
nice way to
but
get it.
truly, what this is where, they just want you to pay you to stay home. This is trying to get you in on, um, getting used to do nothing and get paid. But truly, you're just, it's just a tax. And so let's see, you're taxing them. It's costing you more, and they're going to give you $750 for it.
Yeah.
So it's ballot measure 17, and it's universal basic income program is what
Mm,
that is.
okay.
And that roughly $750 annually from increased corporate taxes. You know what? We don't need to be having universal basic income at all.
Mhm.
That's socialism. Hello, that is socialism. And it would be a 3% tax on corporations, sales in Oregon above 25 million, and distribute the money equally among Oregonians of all ages. But that's not the truth, because it would distribute a portion of it to people, is what it says. Oh, but then we're going to give some to schools, and we're going to give some to healthcare, and we're going to give some to all others. You know what? The citizens won't get jack, but this Oregon People's Rebate um, is about universal income, and this is being funded by companies outside of Oregon, like the one of the third largest source of contributions are the foundation and mother of Gerald Huff, a software engineer and an advocate for universal basic income from California. And so Huff's foundation contributed $90,000. Oregon's People's Rebate has received $740,000 in contributions and spent all but $10,000. That's how they got their signatures. They had paid signature gatherers over on the west side. I never heard about it because it's over here on the east side, where people would say, "No way." And
The temptation for
another
things that are free. It always sounds good until you get it.
You're absolutely right. And their largest contributor was $425,000, another company out of Los Angeles. So don't be fooled. This is um, basic income, universal basic income. This is
Yeah.
getting you on a taxed social welfare system.
And it's
All because, oh
amazing,
wow, I could get $750.
yeah, that's been getting more and more traction. I'm talking about on both sides of the aisle too. I remember hearing discussions about that in publications like National Review. I'm like, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
It's just a backdoor way to say slavery. What is a
Yes.
slave but someone who's 100% taxed? And that's what this will do.
And so it's apparently for anybody, they would pay $750 a year for anybody who has lived in Oregon for more than 200 days.
Wow.
So universal basic income. Oh yeah, just come to Oregon.
Yeah.
Let's
And
legalize drugs. Come to Oregon.
yes, is
We're gonna
guess what kind of people
now
you're
we're
going to
gonna pay you.
attract.
Come to Oregon.
Yeah, the minute you do that, what kinds of people are you going to attract to the state? Or that old saying,
Exactly.
Portland, a city where young people come to retire.
Yes. Yes. And so, but they're saying that, um, anyway, we don't want this. This is going to be a vote no. Okay. Vote no. So start telling your friends that we don't want the Proposition 17, the Oregon People's Rebate. We don't want that. Now, I don't know what the ballot title is because right now they don't, it has to get, I'm going to guess it's called the Oregon People's Rebate. I don't
Okay.
know, but
Well,
it's Proposition or Initiative Petition 17, and I didn't Google
remember,
it
it
up. I
violates that.
just saw it in one of in here in fact, let me post it on Oregon Live, this article that I'm looking at here.
Well, whenever you get your voters magazine, this is dad's advice. This was dad's advice. This is the advice I get to my kids. You get that voter magazine, that voter publication. If it smells like another regulation or rule, and if it smells like a tax increase, no, easy. And if you see a D, by the way, see a D by name, no, boom, there you go. That makes
That's
it
it. That's a
very
fact.
simple. Very simple.
And yes, it says yearly. It's 750 a year to tax yourself more. Right? I mean,
Unbelievable.
you
Yeah.
know, it's yeah, geez, it's awful. So no, we don't want this. And there's going to be so many initiatives on the ballot in November, and that's part of our job is to help educate you all, ourselves, and everybody that we can reach. We don't want this. We don't want this at all. And yeah, not good. Not a good thing. So what else we have is, the Supreme Court has heard a challenge to the Chevron. And so this is an article from Catholic Vote, and I like this because it's something to, I think it's one of the reasons that the Supreme Court is getting attacked right now a lot because they have heard this case already. And so on the headline here is Who's Really Running America? How Chevron Supercharged the Administrative State. So down in the article, there are two cases that presented oral arguments in January challenging this Chevron deference. And what it is these, the EPA, the
SEC.
yeah, you name whatever agency you can think of
Yeah.
in our federal government that is creating rules that we have to follow because they can't create law, but they can create rules that have been kind of screwing up America a lot.
The unelected deep state, basically.
Yes. So the Supreme Court heard two cases, and they're going to be coming up with an answer. What is it going to be? We're going to have to see. But the court agreed to hear questions on the Chevron deference, and based on the justice's response during oral arguments, SCOTUS watchers, the Supreme Court of the United States watchers, expect the court to overturn or at least curtail the power of federal agencies. And frankly, as they should.
Yeah, if I
When,
recall, it seems like I vaguely remember this from a while back, but it will force congressmen to do their job. Now this is starting, the cobwebs are starting to clear because
yes,
congressmen don't want to vote on this stuff because if they had to vote on this stuff, it'd be held accountable. This way they can just say the EPA did it or the SEC did it or the FDA did it, right?
they
Because they
did it,
can't vote them out, right?
right? They did it.
Right,
Those
exactly.
infamous they.
It's not my fault. It's not my fault you got stuck in your house for 6 months during COVID. That was the FDA's fault.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. And so, this is the thing. It is a shame. Um, but anyway, I'm glad. I'm look forward to hearing what the Supreme Court
Mhm.
is going to come bring down on that. And I'm glad. And I think that's why
That's big.
Schumer and others are attacking our conservative leaning Supreme Court justices
Mhm.
because of what they think or know or hear that's going to be coming out of there. And
Well, you know what they say in the Air Force: if you're catching shrapnel, you must be over the target.
exactly, exactly. Well, we do have some good news as well. In fact, we've got several bits of good news. But while we're talking about this, before we get into some good news, you had posted a story about the Biden administration sends the FBI to the home of a nurse who exposed Medicaid fraud by Texas child trans clinic.
Yes, that was like another one of these incredible cases. So, yeah, I believe Texas passed a law saying, well, their hospitals can't do these gender surgeries, and so in order to get around it, the hospitals have basically been lying and calling the procedure something else and charging Medicaid and then doing it Medicare rather than doing them anyway. So there was a nurse who stepped forward under, what do they call that when you can step forward? Ah,
Whistleblower.
Whistleblower. She stepped up forward on the whistleblower, and the FBI showed up at her door. I mean, I can't. Are we still in the United States of America? Right.
We are, but don't be surprised at anything.
Yeah, yeah, unbelievable. Well, they haven't. They didn't kick her door down, and she disappeared into the night off to the gulag. We're not there yet, but the mere fact that they showed up at her door to scare her is absolutely crazy. And this is what we do to whistleblowers, right? So, but the good news is that that got exposed. There's enough people with honesty, integrity, still in the system to call it, and that's the encouraging thing about that.
Well, it is. And in this, this Texas Children's Hospital were willing, they've been falsifying medical records and breaking the law to keep practicing gender affirming care. They are also illegally billing Medicaid for transgender procedures. This is a darn big deal. But as you talked about, the FBI coming to her house,
Mhm.
there was another whistleblower that blew the whistle on this very same facility, and he is going to jail. And so they're calling on the Texas Attorney General to step in and take immediate action against this clinic for what they're doing. People should not be going to jail or prison for being a whistleblower.
See, I tell you,
And
this loosely tells you, I think, where the battle lines are drawn are those college educated elitists are the ones who are most likely to buy into this immoral philosophy in general. And people who do these kinds of surgeries go to these universities and they come out basically, I have no other term to call them, but evil Satanists. And it takes a regular Joe citizen to be willing to stand up on the front line and take the hit to change this. But these are the types of people who are doing this to us across the board.
yeah, they are. Yeah, they are. I'll tell you. I read something recently, and they said if the FBI knocks on your door, just tell them they can talk to your lawyer. And that sounds like that's probably pretty good advice.
Yeah, yeah, that is it. It's
Yeah,
awfully crazy. That's happening to the regular citizen now.
yeah, absolutely. So some good news is, and I thought this was interesting, was a new Louisiana law requires the Ten Commandments be displayed in all classrooms.
Go Louisiana.
Yeah. And it is not just displayed. It is,
Mhm.
you think, well, I'll just go, put this somewhere, right? And obscure place. They said that they have every school in Louisiana that is receiving public funds must do this. And they've given the size, it's a framed document measuring 11 by 14, printed in large, easily readable font. So they don't want you to put it in cursive writing because people they're not teaching that in school, right? And 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 they said that it has to be in every classroom,
Mhm.
and they need to have it. Also requires a 200-word context statement explaining that the Ten Commandments were a prominent part of American public education for almost 3 centuries.
And I tell you, and this is the thing, the beginning of our problems was 40 years ago when we started rolling over, when I say we conservatives, and letting
Yes.
leftists remove that from the classroom. Because
Yeah.
basically, that is the civilizational, that's the construct around how we're going to behave.
Yeah.
That's essentially what the Ten Commandments are. Here's how we choose to behave in this country. Does everybody gonna live to every exact iota of it? Of course not. But here's the standard. And when you get rid of the standard, you get chaos, and something else is gonna replace it. And we've seen what's happened over the last 30 years in terms of what's replacing it.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. And we are in a fight for good and evil. Absolutely. And so kudos to Louisiana.
Yeah,
You
that's
know, this was not an executive order. This was legislatively done.
wow. So through the voters, better
Yeah.
yet.
Through yes. And in fact, I'll tell you what, it was a Republican backed measure, was approved by the state Senate on a 30-8 margin. Then in the House by a 79-16 vote.
Mhm.
That's way overwhelming, you
That's awesome.
know? And so I can't even imagine not voting for that.
Mhm.
But those 8 that didn't vote out of the Senate and the 16 out of the House, those are the ones, that have to get removed.
Right.
Unless
And it,
they had an excuse. Maybe they were in the hospital, right?
mhm,
They didn't say that they voted no. It
mhm.
just says that was the margin that it was approved on. And that's wonderful. It wasn't just by one vote. You
Yeah,
know,
let it be known. Let them explain it. Let it be
yeah,
known. If you disagree with this, explain yourself.
there you
And
go.
and if you
Yeah,
can stay in office, then good for you. And if you
yeah.
can't, good for us.
Yes. So another story that I wanted to bring up is the appeals court revives a case against the COVID-19 vaccine requirement. And it has to do with Washington State because some unvaccinated firefighters sued Washington State and Spokane officials over the vaccine requirements. And in this lawsuit, it was stated that the appellate court revived this case because the arguments were in Spokane, the city of Spokane said, if you don't, everybody has to get vaccinated. And if you don't, you can't be a first responder.
Yeah.
But they would take first responders from other districts and they didn't care if they were vaccinated. And that's where the appeals court says, no, you have to have one set of rules that
Mhm.
applies to everybody. You can't just pick and choose and go, well, for them, they're not under our jurisdiction, but we have a mutual aid agreement, so it's okay. No,
Mhm.
no, no. So I think that's a good thing of coming back out of that. And then another case that has to do with that is Kansas is suing Pfizer. If you hadn't heard, Kansas sues Pfizer, says the company misled public on the COVID-19 vaccine. And I say that term vaccine quite loosely because it
It's
isn't.
not. Yeah.
I mean, it isn't.
This is huge. It's taken us
So,
3 years to get to this point, but it's so awesome to see. We talked about this 3 years ago, though, right?
yes, we
We
did.
finally get to the point. These cases are slowly winding their way through because it's so blatantly wrong.
Yeah.
And
Yes,
people are
and
suffering for it.
the lawsuit is seeking damages and a declaration that Pfizer violated agreements with the state. And you know what? This is good because it's everything. The truth is coming out, and that's the way it needs to be.
Yeah,
Um,
and that dovetails precisely. Did you see the Bloomberg article about the countries that have vaccinated and how much sickness there is now that no one can seem to
yes,
really I mean, it's incredible. Let's see, I see this
Yes.
right here. Yeah, so people are just sick a lot. What is this? In Taiwan, 94% of the people were vaccinated, right? And so people are dealing with all kinds of issues. What is this? Whooping cough, rhinovirus, influenza, pneumonia, shingles, everything's through the roof. In the United States, here it says whooping cough is surged over 45 times in China. It's up 40, the flu is up 40% in the United States.
Mm.
Australia RSV cases have doubled. It's just it's just crazy. And I'm sure if you all know people on your network, I have a lot of friends and people seem to be sick with something all the time.
Yes. Yes. And so I just think it's, we have to keep talking about the what is out there and the lawsuits and whatnot that are coming. Something else, I love this story. This is a great story. This is America. A 13-year-old, this is from the Epic Times, and a 13-year-old young man starts mowing lawns for $35. He bails on college and he's now 23 and he owns $1 million landscaping business.
That's so
You
awesome.
know,
Yeah.
and he said, and he started mowing lawns as his college fund.
Hmm.
Okay, I'm going to start making money, $35. And he printed up a bunch of leaflets and went
Hmm.
all around. And then one day the phone rang and somebody said, hey, yeah, would you come mow my lawn? And so he printed more leaflets and spread them around. And pretty soon he's got a thriving business. And he just got more aggressive with his leaf letting and his
Hmm.
business grew. And now he runs, he's 23 years old. I love it. He runs CMG Landscaping, owns several properties and heavy equipment, and employs 9 workers at 23 years old.
Hmm.
And there's a picture of him on his riding mower at 13,
Hmm.
and a parent has to go drive him around,
Yeah.
to take this riding mower on a trailer, drive him around his, and so he went, I've got this entrepreneurial spirit. I don't really
Hmm.
want to go to work for someone else. I
Yeah,
can do
sure.
this.
That's awesome. Yeah. And college, they don't teach you that. That's for sure.
No, no, and he thought, he says, I never would have thought the amount of money that I made today would be possible in my business when I first got started. When I
Mhm.
was younger, my assumptions were that you had to go to college, and he says, but I'm I've got my own business, and I'm just going to continue forging ahead. And
Mhm.
this is the success. This is the success. And at 17, so he started at 13, right?
Mhm.
And at his leaf letting continued until he had 10 clients,
Mhm.
clearing $12,000. He
Mhm.
pushed 2 more years, 18 clients, clearing 20,000.
Mhm.
One milestone down, and then he got his driver's license. And he was off like a rocket because remember, I told you a parent had to drive him. And his mom let him do high school online.
Mhm.
And so, he continued with his schooling. And
Mhm.
at 17, he said it took him courage at 17 to finally stand up and say he wasn't going to college. I
Mhm.
want to do my business. And he says, my mom was upset because she had put a lot of work into this, getting Penn
Mhm.
State to accept me.
Mhm.
And that he said it was a bold move, but
Mhm.
based on simple math, adding the cost of college at
Mhm.
50,000 a year for 4 years, totaling 200,000 in debt and loss of time.
Mhm.
And he says, I got this money. And then slowly but surely, I was like, yeah, I'm not going to college at all. It's a waste of time. I
It
can continue working.
for very few people does it really make sense if you pencil it out. Um, and that's assuming that you're going to learn anything. And I'm also taking into account the fact that you're going to get indoctrinated. I mean, I'm taking all that out of the equation, right?
Right, right,
So
right. Exactly. That too. That too. The
that's
added bonus of no indoctrination. So I just think it's so cool. And this is with hard work, you can do it in America, by mowing lawns for 35 bucks a pop.
yeah. And
And
more
I
people
don't
realize
even
it. Yeah.
know what state this is in.
And
Oh,
more
it's
people are realizing that. I'm sorry, what state is it?
well, no, it says Chester County, Pennsylvania.
Okay.
Pennsylvania.
Mhm. Right. Yeah. See, more and more people are realizing that because the number of people going to college is dropping precipitously. Eventually, a lot of them are starting to close, and I think that's a good thing.
Yeah, and so I have another, I feel like I don't know, I don't feel like Mike Rowe, but this is like Mike Rowe stories.
Hmm.
And this other story is about teen brothers, and they launch a business that I just posted there. This is from the Epic Times. They
Hmm.
launch a booming business turning junk into cash and
Okay.
tells secrets to their success. And they actually went to the dump one day, and if you've ever been to a dump, it is an education going to the dump, and you go, wow, look at there's good stuff at the dump
Hmm.
that's just getting buried. And
Yeah.
they pulled out some speakers and they went, oh my gosh, look at this stuff. And it all works,
Hmm.
and they now, these two brothers, um, this is in Massachusetts. They live in
Hmm.
Needham, Massachusetts, and they now own three 80,000 dump trucks and run a boisterous and brawny crew and haul around 30 jobs a week. You know,
Hmm.
this hauling junk away for
Hmm.
people, right? I'll
Yeah.
haul your stuff away. Well,
Hmm.
they're also selling it
Hmm. Right.
and making money. And
Hmm.
so at 15, he had had a job. He had had a job at a grocery store at
Hmm.
15. He didn't really like it, but
Hmm.
he was collecting these things. He sold his first radio for $50,
Hmm.
and in 2019 is when he got started doing this.
Hmm.
And now they've got a thriving business.
Hmm.
You know, these two young boys, the partners, 17 and 15, and tax season came. He says tax season in 2022 came with a revelation. We looked at all the money we made and we realized we wanted to reinvest it back in our business, and we bought our first dump truck
Hmm.
for $80,000.
Hmm.
And this is hard work and ingenuity.
Hmm. Right. Hmm. Yeah. But it's precisely this kind of stuff that made the country great, right?
Yes. Yes, and I know there's so much going on, in our world, in our communities, in our state, and in our nation. We need to hear some good news stuff,
Hmm.
and I thought a couple like that would be pretty good.
Hmm.
And if you want somebody to haul your junk away, well, I've seen even around our area, I've seen a little tiny sign that says, we'll haul your junk. Also, look in the newspaper. They run
Hmm.
ads in the newspaper, haul your junk away,
Hmm.
So, yeah. Then I just posted a story, we talk a lot about energy on our program, Dawn,
Hmm.
and the not so green energy of hydro, or not hydro, but wind and solar panels. Well, guess what? There is actually finally a real clean energy law that is bipartisan. And it is going to go across Biden's desk. And it is for almost 3 years. Let's see. It's going across Biden's desk. And this is for the development of nuclear energy in America.
He's going to sign that.
He is.
The green. I know, I'm I'm shocked. I can't.
Yes.
Why is he signing it? I just have to know. There's got to be some ulterior motive here.
Well, it says it's a bipartisan. So it was a near unanimous Senate vote on
Mhm.
Tuesday, 88-2.
The radical left is
88
going
to
to go.
2. Uh,
The radical left is going to go bananas.
Okay. And so this is the deployment of nuclear energy capacity, including by speeding permitting and creating new incentives for advanced nuclear reactor technologies. But let me tell you
Mm.
uh, that this is Bill Gates, if you don't know, he has a whole industry around nuclear energy.
Oh,
I don't
that's
know if
why.
people,
Now, now I understand it.
okay, okay. And so I don't know if this is involved,
Mhm.
but I do know that.
Yeah.
I have a friend that works in the nuclear energy and has given me quite the education.
Mhm.
And there are, if we were to follow France, especially
Oh,
France, they've
80% of the
got
power comes from
they've
nuclear power,
they've got
right?
the best systems.
Right.
They
Mhm.
consume, they consume the waste from the previous reactor, and it
Mhm.
pretty much goes down to about nothing.
Mhm.
And so I don't know, but I was shocked when I saw this out of PJ Media. Did I post it up there?
I
Yes, I
mean,
did.
so the radical left, the greenies, you would think they go if there was ever an issue to shut down the Golden Gate Bridge over, it'd be this. And I've not heard any of that. But then I've been out of the media today, mostly. So
Well, it says expanding nuclear power has broad bipartisan support, with Democrats seeing it as critical to decarbonizing the power sector to fight climate change, and Republicans viewing it as a way to ensure reliable electricity supply, which is what we need. We have
I,
to have reliable electricity.
no,
And,
yeah, the
people are
logical.
pissed off at the cost of what is happening to electricity rates.
I mean, we're rational here. I think we all get that. But
Us?
yeah, but the far left has never gotten that. I mean, I'm just shocked. And
Yeah.
that's why I believe that somebody got paid off. Something sideways here. It's too rational. That's too rational.
Well, I'll tell you, I think there were only eight absences or abstentions. Two senators voted no: Bernie Sanders
Mhm. That makes sense. That totally makes sense.
and Ed Markey out of Massachusetts.
Boy.
And I'm trying to quickly see who are about the Republicans in the House, because, it had to go to both sides.
Mhm.
But I remember reading that it had passed,
Mhm.
passed real well there as well.
See,
So it is going to his desk.
I'm shocked. I would think the crazy, because we got two crazy senators in Washington State, and then you got
Yeah,
Barbara Boxer in California. I don't know who replaced Feinstein, but that person's probably crazy too. I just can't believe they vote for it. It's awesome, but
it is. So this is, I think it could be, Don. This is a rational comment
mhm,
that they are seeing the writing on the wall at how unreliable the energy is,
mhm,
and the costs that are increasing so much.
mhm,
But don't forget, it takes a huge, I'm going to guess that nuclear
mhm,
energy is also going to be tied to the data centers
mhm,
to have absolutely reliable energy, and
mhm.
also chip making. They consume a lot of electricity making chips. You know what else
Look at that.
consumes a lot of electricity? Bitcoin mining.
Ah.
There's things that consume huge amounts of electricity. And
And then one last thing too, the ability to centralize control over stuff. Maybe that's another, you know.
well, by having, when if you put, I don't have smart devices in my house, smart
Mhm,
appliances, and if I will push against that forever.
mhm,
Even though my house has a smart meter, our city, I think, did a bad thing a long time ago
mhm,
by going to smart meters, because that's a way of they can control you. But when you have a smart appliances, then they
mhm,
can go, well, we'll just shut your water heater off. It's not in use right now. You don't need it,
mhm,
and you're not going to do laundry now, and shut down some of those higher use appliances. Your lights don't take much, but
mhm.
some of your oven. Well, no, you get to cook at 5 o'clock.
Well, you already
I
got a
don't know.
smart man and a smart woman in the house. What do you need all this other stuff?
Right? Right. So I thought that was interesting. Another good story is in Arizona. In Arizona, a judge declines to dismiss the election interference case.
Okay.
And so there's been a huge amount of push. They're trying to, get this case dismissed. over election interferences, and it's the legal battle with Maricopa County. So, and in an ongoing legal battle over alleged election interference in Arizona in 2022, Maricopa County Superior Court Judge Jeffrey Fish issued a series of rulings this week denying motions to dismiss and motions to remand charges back to a state grand jury against the Cochise County supervisors Peggy Judd and Tim Crosby. And the rulings were released yesterday, meaning this case is going to trial.
Wow.
And I think this is a very good thing.
Mhm.
There was the indictment. The defendant's actions aim to prevent the timely certification of the county's election results, thereby obstructing the statewide canvass process. And it comes from events following the 2022 general election in Arizona, where these two people allegedly conspired to delay the canvassing of votes in Cochise County. So I don't know. I wish we would have more election integrity stuff, and actually the election fraud cases there.
Yeah, I
But
wish they could have been resolved sooner, but hey, the good
yeah,
news is it's still front and center. We all know it was crooked, and it's just a question of it winding through the system.
yeah, yeah. So that's about what I've got, and it's so. Hey, everybody, share the message. Thank you for watching us tonight, and I hope you learned something. Got to hear a little bit of good news too, because it just isn't all doom and gloom, but we do have to pay attention to what's coming up on the ballot in November and educate ourselves about it so that we can talk with our family, friends, and neighbors and help educate them on voting in November and getting anybody who didn't vote, which there was lots in our primary, to make
Mhm.
sure they turn a ballot in November. We have to.
Absolutely. That was a fast 50 minutes.
Well, thank you, everybody. Have a good night.